And we're back!
Hi.
Wow. Clint had been lying after all.
What? That was way too loud and way too static. What?
Leo whisper yells it.
What?
Leo gets kicked out of the library. I am banned from this town. The story that was in this game is now completely gone as I had been kicked out of Echo.
Shouting in the library.
Leo whispers it at me from across the table, not looking up from his phone.
What?
Nothing. Just finding some interesting stuff. I whisper back.
Good.
Leo grins, but still doesn't look up from his phone. There isn't much to go off of. After reading through it, I'm pretty skeptical of Haunted Echo, the main source of my documentary. At least the bit of information I just came across references some newspaper articles from 1952. The young wolf named Robert Smith wasn't even a resident of Echo. He'd been resting at the Echo classification yard after taking a train from the capital. He was on his way to the west coast, and once he thought he'd found the right train, he attempted to board it. No one knows exactly what happened. Yet somehow, his train hopping went horribly wrong, and he was found with both limbs severed 2 hours later. He managed to crawl 20 yards up north along the rail before he was found. Somehow, impossibly, he survived the ordeal up until that point. This was mainly due to the mud packs that had been placed on the stumps, halting the bleeding. Of note was the fact that Robert had seemingly become delirious because of the blood loss, pain, or trauma. Likely a combination of all three, actually. He claimed that the bleeding had been stopped by a creature of some kind. When he tried to describe it, he began to sob and scream incoherently. It's hard to say how much of this is being exaggerated by the author. Either way, I don't exactly have time to track down all of her sources, so I decide I'll just have to trust it. You know, like any good journalist.
I mean, he's using a book, not the internet, so go him.
Yeah, he's taking it one step further.
Like any good journalist. My leg jumps up as something soft and ticklish brushes up against it. I snap my gaze up at Leo. What? Leo gives me an innocent look while he continues to brush his tail up against my leg. Well, if you're not gonna say anything, then please stop doing that. It's distracting.
What else is the library for, Puchika?
No, it's Chula. That's the cute name.
Chula.
Chica is oh shoot.
What else is the library for, Chula? Getting fresh in the library.
He does stop then, and I feel a little guilty, so I look back up. And thanks for getting a library card, just so I could check this out. It's a huge help. He smiles.
No, that's huge.
Oh.
No. No problem, Nutria.
Now one of your sexier words.
I called him nutritious, didn't I?
No, nutria is actually, it's Spanish for otter, if I remember correctly.
Oh. Okay.
Like, it literally is just otter. I return back to the book. It's unlikely that Robert would have survived anyway, due to the extent of his injuries and infection. Still, it is of note that he ended up committing suicide a few hours after discovery. He apparently slipped out of the 5th floor window of Peyton Regional Medical Care. Though authorities simply dismissed it as a case of a man knowing that his demise was nigh and finishing the job himself. The author speculates that it had something to do with the horrors he saw on the tracks. I hear a soft whine coming from in front of me, and I lower the book to find Leo draped across the table on his chest. He's looking up at me with huge puppy eyes. I can't help but smile because it's so fucking adorable, even for a wolf as big as him. What? I have a project to do, remember?
Yeah, I know, but we've been here for 3 hours now. You should take a break.
This sounds familiar.
I look at the time and I'm shocked that he's actually right. I'm guessing that happens to you between you two or something when Hannah's on
All the
investigation.
time!
there have definitely been times where we're like hanging out someplace, like one of the
Coffee shops or whatever. And I'll be like, hey, 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 Hannah, hey, can we go now? Can we do something? I want to do something.
It's been 3 hours. Please.
So what you're telling me is that if DJ did have a persona, it'd be a dog.
It'd be Randall.
I mean, yeah.
Yes.
My persona is Randall.
How the hell did that happen?
Food?
Well, I guess that's a good idea. I was just finding some really interesting stuff.
I'm sure that project of yours is gonna turn out awesome.
He grins and stands up abruptly, grabbing my book up as well, so I couldn't continue to read.
Let's get some lunch. It's already almost 3.
Alright.
Food?
Do you want to go to the diner?
You want to eat there?
Well, it's been a few days. I like to catch up with the others, you know? I know that's what you wanted to do.
Actually, everyone's busy. I already tried.
Oh, really? What are they doing?
Well, Flynn's working, TJ and Jenna are on a hike, and Carl's asleep.
Oh. It doesn't really seem like Leo to just blow off meeting up with everyone.
All I want is you, baby.
But I guess at this point in the trip, he's just tired of trying. I know I would be. Probably just to show me up after what I said last night, Leo takes me to a semi-fancy steakhouse. He, of course, insists on paying for everything. I'm not really sure when Leo became so concerned with how I perceive his income. I don't mind, though. The meal is good, and I'm happy not to pay the $30 price tag. It does remind me of his job, though, so I ask him about his schedule. He says his parents gave him the entire week off, which surprises me. I remember how Leo worked almost every day in that shop. I guess his dad is just mellowing out with age. Again, I have no reason to complain, though. On the way back, Leo nudges me as I'm nodding off and gestures out his window.
Peyton High.
Sure enough, our old school is visible out the window.
Want to swing round?
Just to look at it?
Yeah.
I'm tired, but we're not doing anything else. Alright, why not? It's past 5 at this point, and as we pull up in the parking lot, there are only a few cars scattered around. I can talk. I know how to speech-tate.
Speech-a-tate.
Well,
We walk around the side of the school, then onto the football field. If Peyton High School put its money anywhere, it was definitely sports.
like any high school.
Oh yeah.
Except for mine. Mine put all its money into theater. I'm just saying.
I wish mine did that.
Theater and music.
Huh.
Although, well, we did put a lot of money into sports. Although we did have a very supportive, band parent organization, and so I
So
think
did Flynn.
even whenever they had to cut funding for arts, I think band was still able to keep going.
My high school had 3 orchestras, 5 choirs, and 4 bands.
Oh,
Where did
wow.
you
as
grow
well.
up? In which general area did you grow up in? Yeah, that's why.
Yep.
Yeah, you definitely had the funding. I grew up. We got plenty of funding for our school, so nothing was cut. But we did not have multiple choirs or orchestras. We only had the one of each.
Exactly.
no,
I've had
multiple.
one.
We had one band, so we had the regular band that would do, it would do marching, pep
And concerts.
band, and concerts, depending on what time of the year it was.
Oh, and we did 4 shows a year.
And we did also have jazz band.
Yeah, we did too. I was part
Oh,
of that.
sorry,
I could play
7
a
bands. We had 7
trombone.
bands.
And of
Well,
course,
lucky
the
you.
trombones hated me. Anyway, and they called me a false trombonist. And I'm like, I just... Fuck off.
Wait, why'd they call you a false trombonist?
Because I was a baritonist playing a trombone. Even though they have the same scale, just different techniques of getting the sound out.
Huh.
One slide, fingers. And they hated me
Okay.
anyway. There's a long story about the trombones hating me.
Oh, gotcha. Huh. I didn't know that.
Hmm
I avoided musical instruments by singing.
I'm a mediocre singer.
All right. So either way,
Back to
oh, you were saying though something, Sam?
what? I said back to plot.
Ah, okay. That was one of the reasons I was so mediocre by comparison. Every sport in the school was extremely competitive, each one winning state regularly. They win state again since I've been gone?
Nope. Come close last year, though. Almost as close as we did back in '09.
Ah, yeah. You still sore about that? Leo sits down at the top of the concrete bleachers, or on the top bench of the concrete bleachers, and I sit down next to him.
Sometimes. Mostly because we were so damn close. It just feels like it was yesterday.
It does kind of feel that way. I can remember pretty clearly. It was one of the few times I'd seen Leo really cry. He'd wanted that championship so bad. '09, I think, would have been his graduation year, too.
Um,
I say,
Well,
oh,
I think he
my...
actually graduated in 10, because it would have been fall for '09.
Huh.
I lean back and look around, breathing in deeply. Wow, it's really nostalgic being here.
I mean, that's why I brought you here.
Gotta manipulate, mansplain, and man.
Isn't it?
Leo looks off towards sunset, and I can see him getting glassy-eyed.
It's weird that, if I could, I'd go through high school again. Is it weird?
I think for a moment. Not really. I'd like to do it. I made a lot of mistakes. I sure as fuck wouldn't. I sure as fuck would stay the hell away from high school.
yeah.
Anyone here actually want to repeat high school?
I mean, I enjoyed my high school experience, but as I said, 3 orchestras, 5 choirs, 7 bands,
Let's just all
5 shows a
repeat high
year.
school at DJ's high school.
Maybe DJ's high school is just that one high school that actually works out.
The theater kids were more popular than the football jocks, but no one shat on the football jocks either. Like, we all liked our football jocks. We had a guy who was in theater and football. We had a cheerleader who was in all honors classes and cheerleading, and she wasn't ditzy. She was actually a really chill gal.
We had a couple of members of band who was also part of the football team.
Yeah, like we had a good culture at that school, and I used to think it was maybe just I had fond memories of it. But then I see my brother at that same school, and I'm like, nope, they just have a really good culture there.
Yeah,
I don't know how they do it.
Because, yeah, honestly, I'm thinking about my own school, and there's some things that I could not include in the video that happened in my school that made me go, yeah, screw high school.
I mean, okay, I also lived in the sheltered part of that school. Fights also broke out in that school. Like, people beat the shit out of each other.
I'm not talking about fights.
Fair enough.
Oh, boy.
But, like, yeah, no, and I mean, like, there was definitely problems. But, like, my experience there basically that school was what you made it. If you wanted to make it, like, the crowds that were involved in not great things didn't mingle with the crowds that didn't want to, and both were diverse for the most part too. Like, the theater kids were a wide group of people from a lot of different monetary backgrounds and things like that.
Okay,
Yeah, no, I liked my high
I'm
school.
gonna quickly explain why I didn't like my high school. It's probably not gonna end up in the video unless I can figure out a way to bleep a whole bunch of stuff. So here's where things are getting paused for people watching.
And we're back.
Yeah, it would be.
Oh man, yeah, I got to unload about how awful high school was for me. And honestly, that's just the stuff that was on the top of my head.
Yeah.
Alright. Not really. I'd like to do it. I made a lot of mistakes.
Well, not really because of that. More like it was a lot of fun. I just want to experience it all again.
I grin at him. Hey, you're talking like you peaked in high school.
Did I?
The question catches me completely off guard, and my stumbling around for words that follows doesn't help. No! He sighs. Leo, you've got a good paying job, your own house, a pretty damn good life. You're doing better than most. He laughs a little.
I just don't feel like it, you know?
Why not? He leans back.
Well, I don't really feel as good as I did back then. When I think of high school, or even further back. Man, those were the good days.
I think about how completely inverse I am to that. How my life improved exponentially after I left the town. Well, you know, if you keep looking back, I don't think you'll ever be happy.
Aww.
He looks so sad. I wrap an arm around his shoulders, which is a little difficult considering how broad they are. Because 5 years from now, you'll probably look back on this era of your life and think, man, I wish I could go back.
You're probably right.
So let's just enjoy now. Leo sighs again, then looks straight down at me, meeting my eyes.
Chase.
Yeah? He pauses, looking off to the side before turning his eyes back on mine.
I love you.
I immediately look away.
Chase, please. Please just come back. I miss you so much. Every day.
I stare out across the field, not able to meet his eyes again.
I'll stop smoking. I'll stop picking on Clint. I'll get rid of the gun. Just please come back.
I don't know, Leo. You know how I don't like it there. And I feel like I should keep my options open to find a good job, a good place to live.
Just for a year or two. While you're getting on your feet, I'll give you a place to stay.
That sounds great, Leo, but to get back together, that's like setting ourselves up for another breakup, and I don't want to do that.
What have you been doing this entire time?
But then we'd know for sure, without parents or school in the way. It'll just be us, and then, even if it doesn't work out, there's some closure there.
For the first time, I feel myself seeing things from Leo's point of view, and I'm not necessarily losing anything by at least trying. And he's right. There really wasn't any closure, mostly because of me. Leo must sense my indecision, because he immediately presses forward.
And I'll be making enough to support you while you figure things out.
Hey, I don't want to be a mooch.
I don't mind. I'll just want you to be comfortable so you can do what you want to do.
But, Echo. Leo's quiet for a while, a long while, before he finally speaks up.
Now, that I can't fix. But I guess one way to decide is to weigh what's more important to you.
You're asking me to choose.
I'm not asking that exactly.
Leo glances at me.
But if I did?
I blow out a long sigh. So you are. He doesn't say anything, so my mind starts wandering over the years we'd spent together. Despite how much we fight, there's no question in my mind what the answer is, and it hits me like a thunderbolt. Well, I choose you. All at once, his face explodes into a grin. So much happiness in one expression that I don't think I'll ever be able to take back what I just said, even if I wanted to. And instantly, I'm wrapped up in a tight, warm hug, one that crushes the air from my lungs.
Oh my god, Chase, I love you so fucking much.
Hey!
But you've still got a year of school left, so we're gonna have to get back in contact and we're gonna have to exchange.
I clasp his muzzle shut with my hand around it, and he just stares it back at me with wide eyes. I didn't even say yes. I take my hand away from his muzzle.
Oh, well, what do you say?
I look again towards the sunset, past the concrete bleachers and goalposts, in the direction of Echo, and take a deep breath. I look back at Leo. Yes.
Oh, God.
And then he's kissing me. It's not rough like it was at the train yard. His mouth stays closed, but he holds my head gently, and it's like he's trying to pour all of his love into me through just his lips. As ridiculous as it sounds, I can feel it. Okay, so now we can comment about it.
Oh, God, it's a bad idea.
Oh, it is
It's
such
a bad idea, Dance.
It hurts.
Oh, jeez.
Because he
No, we're going to
He means it, and he cares so much about Chase, but he cares about Chase because he cares about himself. So he doesn't care about Chase.
I would say that Leo loved Chase at one point, but that love has become not as pure anymore. I think is the best way to say
It becomes a
that.
little bit more obsessive.
Here's what it is. He doesn't love Chase anymore. He loves his high school life, and Chase represents that.
I would throw in the stipulation that he does love Chase, but he loved the Chase back in high school. They don't really seem to come to terms with the fact that 3 years does change a person.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Chase now
On the flip
is not
side-
Chase from high school.
On the flip side, Chase does care about Leo
Of course.
quite a bit. And it feels like Leo does care a lot about Chase, but I mean, let's be clear about something. They haven't talked to each other in 3 years.
I'm a little confused by that myself. I think that there's like some communication, but it's like very minute. Because remember, Chase even said that he coordinated this with Leo when coming back. So
True.
they were able to communicate somehow, but it's not an easy communication, whatever it is.
Maybe they briefly texted or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking too, and they must be able to, because like in other routes, Leo can text you, but he just said now we gotta get back in contact, so maybe he just was referring to
Yeah.
like, I guess he's referring to like more regular contact?
Potentially. It was a little bit weirdly worded in that way, so it makes it hard to tell.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they are such a bad idea to be together, and as I've
They
said,
are.
Leo's not completely at fault. Chase is there too, and it takes two to do the dumbass tango.
Oh, absolutely. Chase also kind of is missing high school in a weird way, right? Like, he's missing Leo. He's missing that connection. He's missing that innocence, almost.
I think both of them are suffering from nostalgia, just in different ways.
Yep.
Anyway, we should probably get back to this before we run out of time for Sam.
Yep.
Leo's heavy, soft body presses me into the bed, licking and kissing up my neck. His hands slide up and down my body, feeling out everything, and he's gasping like he can't catch his breath. I am reading this as unsexily as I can, aren't I?
Yep.
I lay there, motionless, my eyes shut, as I feel his squeak, squeaking squeak, 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 Leo, squeak, 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 squeak. I squeak my squeak, 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 big wolf. Slowly, he starts to squeak, 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 squeak. He pauses to snuffle and tease against my squeak, 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 squeak. My eyes squeak as I squeak, 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 arching my squeak. Has been accomplished.
This has been accomplished.
This is described by YouTube Alan.
Achievement unlocked.
Squeaking.
I like the idea of like you just hear the ding and like the little Xbox symbol. You hear the achievement name is just "This has been accomplished." 10 points. I listen as Leo showers down the hall, and I smile as I hear him singing. I usually shower with him back in the day, but I was so tired I passed out as soon as we both finished. Once I opened my eyes again, Leo was already in the shower. I'm about to drift off again when I hear Leo's phone buzz. He's been on all day, probably trying to coordinate a meeting with the others. It's already Friday, which is hard to believe. We had to get together again before we lost the chance. I look over. The screen is already lit up, so I sit up and look. A message from Flynn. Yeah, who wants to be Flynn, I guess, for now? DJ, usually you were Flynn when we need a replacement, now that I think about it, unless Andrew was there.
I'll talk to myself.
Okay.
Yeah, well, fuck you too.
Not exactly a surprising message to get from Flynn, but I still wonder what they're flying about. From the sound of it, Leo's still in the middle of his shower, still rocking out his diva pop song. Do we respect Leo's privacy or check that phone?
No! We check
Respect.
the phone!
Yeah, I kind of want to check the phone.
Oh, you guys suck.
It's a bad idea, but I kind of want to check the phone.
I recommend checking the phone personally.
That's what
I
would say.
lose.
With some amount of guilt, just a smidge, just a little sprinkling of guilt.
Just a smidge.
I reach over and grab his phone and open up his texts. Immediately, I see a few pinned conversations. They're from me. Judging by the dates, they're from when I was still away at college. There's also a few saved attachments, and I quickly swipe away to the other, more recent conversations. The latest is from earlier this morning, and it looks like it was to Flynn.
Chase has a project, Toto.
So yeah, you're right. You would be talking to yourself, so I can be Flynn, I guess. Unless somebody else wants to be him.
Bullshit. You fucking go with him again, huh?
No, you not fucking go.
You fucking with him again, huh? I'm helping him. You planned this from the start, didn't you? What? This whole thing, it was just to go back into his pants. How about I plan this after you ruin the entire week, huh? Yeah, well, fuck you too.
I frown. It's too bad Leo and Flynn are still fighting, but for some reason their exchange has me feeling uneasy. I pull up his next recent text thread, one with Carl. Carl asked Leo when we were hanging out again yesterday night. Leo pokes some fun at him about sleeping in the crawl space. Then Leo tells him that he isn't sure, and that I'll probably be too busy with my project to hang out. Leo never asked me. I feel my heart starting to pound. Today Carl texted again, asking how things were going. Leo tells him that I wanted to go to high school for nostalgia's sake, that I wanted to be alone for it.
Oof.
He said that 2 hours before we even got there, before we acted as if it was on a whim. Then Jenna asks if Leo is avoiding her, if she said something wrong. Leo tells her everything's fine, but again, I'm too busy to hang out. And then his text to TJ.
Yesterday was so much fun. I know you said you were probably going to be busy, but I wanted to check.
Smiley face. Chase is still pretty sad about what happened Monday. I think he needs more time.
Oh, okay. Please tell him I'm sorry. He told me he was fine yesterday, but I guess he must have been faking it for my sake.
Yeah, he's still pretty broken up. We'll figure it out, though.
I'm gripping the phone hard. Could Leo really done all of this? To TJ especially. I sit there quietly, listening to my wolf continue to sing. My stomach twists up as I realize that now I have to confront him on this. I've let things slide before, but this is on a different level. I hug my knees and stare at the wall, feeling strangely violated now. As I stare, I see a dark spot with spindly legs move across the wall. The spider pauses as if acknowledging me before disappearing into the dark corner. I sit on hard, uneven ground, shivering as I try to cover myself up with the blanket. My eyes adjust enough for me to realize that I'm outside somewhere, looking through the branches of dead trees to the many stars above me. Aside from the calls of a few birds, it's completely silent. I stare at the sky above me for a while, wishing that it wasn't so cold so I could just go back to sleep.
Okay, I gotta go. So,
Okay.
I will see you guys tomorrow then.
Have a good
See
night,
you, Sam.
Sam.
See ya.
Have a good night.
Where am I? The slight confusion I feel mixed in with the apathy of just waking up is a familiar feeling. I can remember when my parents forced me into Boy Scouts 10 years ago. I hated it so much, especially the camping. I could never fall asleep, and when I finally did, it would be marred by me tossing and turning, waking up in confusion as to where I was. I'd sit up straight in the tent, looking around me for up to 10 minutes, wondering why I was in complete darkness and sitting in a sleeping bag. Except now there's no tent or sleeping bag. My mind works slowly, like it's drenched in molasses, and I knead the ground with my fingers, digging them into the dead vegetation and soil. And then finally, I break through the barrier to the city and realize that what's happening to me is real. I'm outside. I look left and right and see I'm surrounded by trees or bushes. The smell of sagebrush and dirt fill my nostrils as I unsteadily get to my feet. My limbs and flesh are numb from the cold, and I rub my hands up and down my arms, trying to find some warmth. Did I sleepwalk? I must have, unless Leo took me out here for some reason, or someone else did. I shiver. There's not much else I can do except walk forward. Ahead of me, it looks like the branches clear out into more darkness. I hope that I'm just behind Leo's house, where I know there are some bushes and trees. Either way, I can't be that far from the house. So I start walking, reaching out blindly to move past sharp branches and prickly bushes. The pain isn't that bad, not as bad as you think it'd be. I look back behind me, staring hard into the blackness. I can't see anything beyond the branches right in front of me, which give the impression of gnarled teeth in front of a dark, endless mouth. Quickly, I turn back around and push through the dead vegetation in front of me, trying not to panic. But I knew I was dead the moment I looked down. A branch scrapes against my cheek, and another stabs me hard in the hip as I run right into it. Two stumps gushing blood, splashing the wheels of trains and rails. I finally break out into the open. Now I can see more stars above me, but the complete lack of a moon makes almost everything around me impossible to see. I can at least tell that it's a large clearing, but no matter how hard I squint, I can't see ahead of me. Tentatively, I start walking forward, looking left and right for any signs of light that might help guide me back to the town. I can feel a worrying seed of panic starting up in my chest, and I worry it's going to explode out of me at any second. The last thing I need is me running through the night screaming my head off. Pretty soon I become aware of what looks like a large block in front of me. Again, I reach out my hands, walking slowly as I approach whatever it is that's in front of me. They press up against something rough, hard, and cold. Whatever it is, it's made up of some type of metal. It feels broken and rusted, so I assume it's old. Was it a warehouse of some kind? I sidestep to the right until my hands run up against some bars that stick out from the structure, and that's when it hits me. It's a freight car from the old train. Sure enough, the next thing my hands meet is the empty space, as I come across what I remember to be the open door I sat in earlier. I was out in the train yard. I almost laugh. Did my anxiety about finishing the project cause me to sleepwalk all the way back out here? At least now I know exactly where I am. I rest my hands on the edge of the car, breathing in the musty air inside. There's a hint of something sweet and sick on top of it, and it crosses my mind that anything could have crawled inside and died. I quickly move away from the car. Turning my body in the direction I know Leo's house is in, I start walking again, pouring through my recent memories to see if I could somehow remember how the hell I got here. I remember Leo coming back into the bedroom, putting his arm around me, then nothing. I definitely fell asleep. Sleepwalking is the only answer. The sound of rustling behind me makes me jump, but I keep moving forward, not wanting some tiny creature in the grass getting me spooked. Squinting ahead of me, I see no lights, yet which is strange because I know Echo should have had at least a few lights on. The street lights at least. A loud metallic clang fills the air, and this time I do whirl around. Hello? My voice is still scratchy from waking up, and I cough to clear it. Hello? The loudness of my voice actually startles me, but the response is silence. Did a bird hit it? Maybe I knocked something loose when I was feeling around. I'm definitely not going back to check it out though, so with a quickened pace, I start moving again. That's when I hear more shifting around in the car, like something is rolling around inside. I stop walking again and hold still, perking my ears as I try to hold my breath and heart pounding. This time I don't call out, and instead just listen. I swallow, and it's so loud I almost jump at the sound. But again, the sound stops completely. I wait a while longer before I start moving again, this time at a slight jog. A crazy thought enters my mind, where I think maybe Leo and I got really drunk, and maybe we both came out here and blacked out. And that Leo is in the train car right now, hungover and rolling around. It's in the middle of that thought, though, that the sound starts up again. It's louder this time, and it ends with it cutting off for a split second as something heavy thuds into the dead vegetation below. I stop again, but this time it's so that whatever it is doesn't hear me, knowing that if I keep walking, the heavy crunches of my footsteps will allow it to pinpoint me immediately. My throat is completely dry, and a new thought enters my mind. It could be Clint. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he comes out here to sleep in the train cars. That would be totally something he'd do. While it does ease my worries a little, I'm not fully relaxed because I know the dumb fuck has a gun. I also know they wouldn't hesitate to shoot at something if it startled him. So I crouch down a bit, waiting, listening. And now I'm pretty sure I can hear breathing, ragged, wheezy breath that definitely sounds like Clint. I gather up some of the spit in my mouth so my tongue doesn't stick to the roof of it and take a small breath. Hey, Clint? I say gently, quietly, but I'm sure you can hear me. I get some more silence in return, but I also get that distinctive feeling that he's listening back. I try again. It's me, Chet. There's an explosion of energy and sound in front of me, but it's not a gunshot. Instead, it's a sense of forward momentum that I can physically feel, and whatever is in front of me is lunging forward at me. Two loud thuds, one following the other in less than half a second, followed by an explosive dragging sound, the cycle repeating the second it ends. Whatever it is sounds desperate, almost manic, but I don't stick around to find out because what I know because I know it. Wait. Oh,
Before I know.
Because before I know it, my legs are carrying me through the clearing as fast as they can. All thoughts of what it could be are gone from my mind as I dodge to the trees and bushes to my right, knowing that if I break through to the other side, I'll be right in front of Leo's house. What's behind me, though, is moving impossibly fast. Already, it sounds like the distance between me and it has been cut in half, and I'm struggling between branches and sagebrush. I hear it break into the brush with me. I gasp as full-on panic sets in. Leo! Leo! I scream as loud as I can, knowing that he should be able to hear me, also knowing that he sleeps like a rock. The thing behind me seems to double its efforts as the sound of my voice and the cycle of its movement increased. It now has the momentum of a gallop. My breaths are coming in panic gasps, and I know I'm not going to make it because there's only 3 feet behind me. As if a window opens in the back of my mind, I see it. 2 clawed hands outstretched toward me, a face that flashed past me too fast to make out, but I managed to see a lipless mouth. And then it slammed into my back and crushes me into the ground against sharp branches and rocks. I gasp as the air is crushed out of me, but before I can suck it back in, those hands wrap around my neck. I struggle and pull, but it's like I'm an ant under a foot. I'm so thoroughly pinned I can't even budge an inch. There's hissing behind my head, and I feel dripping against the back of my neck. Tears squeeze out of my eyes as I try to reach forward, but it's like I'm paralyzed. Paralyzed. I'm yanked back, suddenly, my face coming out something soft and white. A pillow.
Chase, you okay?
Leo's husky voice whispers in my ear as I take in a huge gasp of air.
Whoa, can't breathe?
I gasp and gasp, my face wet with tears as I sit in the bed looking around.
Oh, baby, it's okay.
Leo draws me into a warm hug, and I take it limply, my mind only now catching up. I cough a few more times. Sorry. Paralysis. Couldn't move. Leo rocks me a few times, making shushing note sounds.
I remember you telling me about that. Good thing I was here to pull you out of your pillow.
I nod against his chest, realizing how dangerous it could have been if he hadn't been there. I usually came out of the paralysis in under a minute, but sometimes I shudder and pull back out of the hug, wiping my face.
What did you dream about?
I try to think back, but the dream is fleeing my mind as fast as whatever it was that was chasing me. And what was chasing me? I can't remember. Leo rubs my shoulder and looks at my face. It's dark, but I can see the white of his eye patches, giving him an almost ghostly appearance.
You want to stay up? I can make you tea or something.
The adrenaline is already leaving me to be replaced by fatigue, but the offer sounds nice. Sure.
Alright, want to come with me?
I pause, then shake my head, wanting to collect myself alone for a moment. No, just give me a second.
Alright.
Leo leans forward and kisses me on the forehead before leaving me alone in the dark room. I lay back down on my side, trying again to remember what I had dreamed about. I was in the woods, and something was after me. That's about all I can recall. The warmth Leo left in the bed quickly has me drowsy again, and I'm about to drift off when something pokes me in the foot. I try to ignore it, but the thought of an insect of some kind has me reaching down to feel at it. It's hard and crackly, whatever it is, and I pull it up to find a dead leaf. Frowning, I pull back the sheets, and there, clinging to the fabric and fur off my feet, is dirt and leaves.
Ooh.
Huh.
We did it! We made it to Saturday, guys!
Yay!
Alright, say goodbye, because we are done.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.